we're a little bit off kilter because we can't tell if we're supposed to start already or if we were ready to go or what the deal is. Because apparently the YouTube notification system isn't working that well. Tells us that we were ready to go, and now I'm getting the notification that we're live. So apparently there's a little bit of a delay here.
I don't like seeing all these places.
There's multiple stuff, and we got screens, we got everything going all over the place here. But one, if there's anybody in here, can you let us know if you can hear us okay? That would be great. Yeah, we can keep it going from there.
Yeah.
Or maybe we just I don't
know which one to look at.
All right, perfect. Thanks, RJ. It looks like it's just
hi.
Looks like it's just us three, because apparently this is a bomb.
Oh no.
But hello, how are
hi.
you? Welcome. We were starting to think there for a little bit that nobody liked us. And hello, New Mexico. That's on our
nice.
plans for a couple of years. All right, or next year.
Next year.
Next year at some point. We were starting to think that nobody was going to show up, and we're going to go, what do you do for a half hour if nobody shows up?
Let's talk to our son.
But if you are in the room, we thank you for stopping by, and this is really what it's all about. This is our 28th wedding anniversary spectacular. And, well, not really spectacular, but we are in the Florida Keys.
So that's pretty spectacular.
So that's pretty spectacular. We were down in Key West the other night. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully we have many more anniversaries to come. Because you never know. Maybe you'll get bored of me. But we were down on Duval Street a couple of nights ago, walking around, enjoying the randomness that is Key West, and partaking in quite a few adult beverages. Speaking of which, I bring us a, you have to excuse us because we do know of higher quality beer, but this is organic and it's only 2.5 carbs. And our diet, this is what it's all about. So I know my son's here,
He'd
mom
be
and
so
dad
proud.
do know better beer,
Yeah.
but we are partaking. So we're going to open these up
Oh.
because after 30 years, I think we deserve a beer. 30 years together, 28 years married, and
Holy cow.
we decided to start this journey. And I'll say salute to you.
I gotcha. Okay.
That is true. That's true. And this is actually not bad. This beer here is actually not bad.
No.
But I will say that going down to Duval Street, we totally blew our diet because they have these things that are these frozen concoctions, margaritas, all kinds of random stuff.
So good.
And we just walked up and down Duval Street drinking. And it was great. I think all total, we probably consumed maybe about 2,000 calories just in that little walk, but it was great.
But it was 5 miles, a little over 5 miles.
Yeah, it was like 5.3 miles from the parking garage all the way out to the point and back. And, you know, hey, and I think we'll do it again before we leave the Keys here. But we are coming to you live from Sunshine Key. This is part of the Thousand Trails Encore system of RV parks.
It's beautiful.
And we are in Site 136, so if you are in the park, stop over
Say
tomorrow and say hello. But we are literally, and you can probably see some of the reflection in the RV sidewall, but we're literally right across the street from the water. We're like, boom, right here. And it's great. This place is picture perfect. It's quiet. We did have some heavy rain this morning, which startled us, but
I hear Orlando got a little bit of hail.
yeah, to our friends that are in Orlando
Yeah,
and staying at
that's
Thousand Trails, or TTO rather, we're seeing the pictures come in, a lot of hail come through, stuff like that. That's one of those moments where I'm glad that we kind of vacated the premises and got down to the Keys.
For sure.
We are here till Saturday, and then from here we have a real long commute.
I don't know. It's
About-
probably like one of the longest we've had so far.
30 miles north. We'll be at Fiesta Key for a
Yeah.
couple of weeks there. And then we'll be heading out over the next few weeks. We'll be leaving Florida as we start to go into Alabama, and we have plans for Alabama, Tennessee, all the way up to Michigan.
Yep.
I think we're stopping in Kentucky. We've got all over the place, and then we'll be back down. And hopefully that's just us.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you? There's some weird thing just happened on our screen. We don't know if you guys seen it or if it was just us. Internet here is spotty. Starlink is what we're using for the feed here. We finally got around to, not to ruin any upcoming videos, but we finally got around to installing our WeBoost because the Verizon service here was so bad that it wasn't picking up anything. So we pulled the WeBoost out of its box, and we've only had that since like October.
Yeah.
And finally installed that, and that made a huge difference as to what we're able to do with both Verizon and T-Mobile, for that matter. So definitely needed. But we're here. We got all kinds of plans. We go way up, as I was saying, we go all the way up to Michigan, and then we are heading back down, and then we'll be in Texas probably through November and going into December, and we'll be back in Florida for December because we have some things going on that we want to be here for. So, again, not to spoil any future upcoming videos, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Though, really, is what we're here to talk about today. 28 years, kid. We have made it 28 years. Those of you who are married and you're in the room, let us know how long you've been married, because we always like to know what part of the world has the highest and longest marriages, because that's what we kind of just do now. But Carrie and I met roughly 30 years ago. We met in a parking lot of a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And
go to the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. Yeah.
that's one thing.
Yes.
I know we are just, by saying going into Michigan, we are just creeping over the border on this run. I think we're like 30 minutes outside of Elkhart, Indiana, somewhere in there. I mean, we're literally just over the border. I don't know if we'll make the Upper Peninsula this year, but if not, it's definitely on our plans for next year, as we go straight up and then to the left coast, as the kids say. But yeah, so anyhow, so back to
Parking lot love story.
a parking lot love story. Carrie and I met 30 years ago in a coffee shop, as I was saying, and basically from there, we went on one date, and
Was it even a date?
and I'll let you read that one. I can't see all of it.
Venturesome couple were married June 2000 in Alaska on the Air Force Base. Almost 23 years married together for almost 24.
Congratulations.
We got married on our 1-year anniversary. That's awesome. I love it.
So when Carrie and I met, we went out.
Happy
Wow,
anniversary.
41
Thanks,
years.
Bruce.
That's awesome,
Wow.
Bruce. Congratulations. Carrie and I had gone on our first date, and immediately I asked Carrie to marry me. It was probably one of the most honest things I've ever asked, and it was probably as crazy as it sounds, it was the best decision, best thing I ever did. And she was foolish enough to say yes. The rest of it, as they say, is history. And just kind of did our thing, and here we are. It is still blows my mind, especially as we were walking through Key West. And this is just a couple of nights ago on Sunday, and we're walking through, and we're still finding things out about each other.
And
30
giggling
years
like
later.
little kids.
And people think we were just married, and
Yeah,
we're just,
like-
and it's so crazy. But on the upper side,
Yes.
somebody looked at me like I was eye candy, and
She did too.
say that's always
That-
awesome.
That's awesome.
So if those of you, we need a
Bruce.
moderator and a
Yes,
worse.
he married his high school sweetheart.
And you have the
Oh,
23
wait a
MLE.
minute. Unchained Melanie. Westchester, New York. Married since June of 1979. Come up on 44 years, and they have a 23 MLE.
Oh, geez, congratulations. It's always nice to know,
Yeah.
because in the group of
We
people.
love following you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We enjoy you following us as well. One of the coolest things about us being married for so long is that, and I shouldn't say it's the coolest thing, but of everybody that was married around the same time that we were,
Yeah.
none of these together anymore. That we, the
Know
circles
of.
that we were
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Yeah. And so we were the only ones that made it this long. And I owe that all to myself. I give myself full praise. And yeah,
Okay.
the greatest. I'm gonna go and tell the story of us getting married. So I
Oh
asked
my
Carrie to marry
God.
me,
Okay.
and shortly thereafter, she became pregnant with our oldest daughter, and we had still planned to get married, but life happens, right? So trying to do the right thing now and getting this done, we had gone to the church that we were part of. They would only do it if you didn't publicize it. It's a Catholic thing, and
Yeah.
you could only have family, no friends, whatever.
But
And then
it wasn't in their jurisdiction for one, and two, I was already pregnant before marriage, so
yeah, so it
they
was a
said
big
no.
no-no.
Yeah.
But the funny part of all this was, you go through rejection after rejection from the churches.
Yep.
And I had a friend of mine whose grandfather was a retired judge.
Is this your first time in the Keys, Bruce? No.
No, this is our second time.
Yeah, we were at Boyd's a couple, 3, 4 years ago.
About 4 years ago
Yeah.
during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we go through and we a friend of ours, his grandfather was a judge who was retiring at the time,
Trumpetto.
Judge Trumpetto, and we made
Yeah.
a phone call, and he says, "I'll meet you down the town hall in a half hour." So we had to throw on some clothes and get down to the courthouse. And the funny thing is, or the town hall, I should say.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, we didn't know you needed witnesses. So Carrie and I were frantically grabbing employees of the town hall in their lunch break for them to be witnesses for
Yeah.
us. And interesting fact, I wore jeans and a button-up dress shirt.
Yeah.
The jeans had no button. So they were zipped up and belted, but they had no button. But
Yeah.
anyhow, so we go through the simple ceremony, kiss her at the wrong time.
Yes, sir.
Said the part of where you're supposed to say "I do." I said "Yes, sir." Not nervous at all. As cool as a cucumber. And we did our thing. We had lunch in the park, and
I went to work.
she went to work,
You
and I went to work that night.
Yeah.
And a couple of years later, we had the big church thing, and it was a fiasco.
It was a photo album.
Yeah.
But I was working. Where was I working? At Annie's Dry Cleaning. Anyway, in Pocket
Pocket. Yep.
And I still have.
Connecticut.
Actually, Amelia still has the. We got a balloon from one of the ladies that I worked with happy, yay, you're married. And actually, Amelia has it now. I kept it.
So it is funny that when you look back at all of this and you go, you've been married this long, and you go, hey, what's the secret to it, right? What's the secret to being married this long? And very simply, you have to be on the same page on everything. That's one thing Carrie and I, for the most part, I would say 99.6% of what we do is always on the same page. I'm very fortunate to have a partner that, and it's taken a long time to get here. We both come from different backgrounds, and I won't call you Prissy or anything, but we come from different backgrounds, and it takes a long time to be together when you start thinking like we always had the same goals in life, but just our approaches
You
are
were
very
the
different.
rebel. I followed directions.
Which is really funny. Yeah,
Because that's pretty much still how it is.
it to an extent, yeah. But I still think it's just funny how we've grown as
Yeah.
people, and we have 3 amazing children, and we couldn't ask for a better life. And this is just as we start to do this full-time thing, and we've been full-time now since November, so we're 5 months, going on 6 months in. We miss our kids tremendously.
Horribly.
But we do have a better relationship with them now, I think, than we did when we were home,
Yep.
which is, go figure. It is something,
I love it. Thank you.
technology makes it a whole lot easier. I know for
Well,
one,
yeah.
our son we talk to pretty much daily.
When he was home, and I know you're still here, RJ, you would be downstairs, and we wouldn't hear from you for a day and a half. You were in the same house.
He'd come up to
But
get
now
food.
it's so. Uh-oh.
You
Yeah.
come up to get food, and we say a few words, and that was pretty much it. And now, the one thing that we found is that we talk to them more now than, as Carrie was saying, but the conversations are deeper.
Yep.
And I think this goes with our youngest daughter as well. We're just on a whole different level. And I think a lot of that is you appreciate that separation a little bit.
You do,
And
but
it's
that's
easier
tough,
just to
too.
be, our kids are great. They're funny and very
Successful.
intelligent, successful children. Or I shouldn't even say children anymore. They're adults now.
They'll always be little.
But it is so nice to get those calls and go, hey,
Yep.
Mom, hey, Dad, guess what? I just did something that you guys do, or something like that. Or the biggest win for us was after our last live stream, we found out that our daughter even subscribed to our channel.
Yes.
So, Amelia, we thank you. If you ever watched the replay, she had
She
subscribed.
said she's
RJ's
going
always
to try
been.
when she gets home. We're still on
Yeah, RJ's always been there for us with this stuff and
with everything.
with I should say with anything. And but for Amelia to say,
Yep.
it was time. And I really think with our youngest one, it was a matter of we had to have 2,000 subscribers, or we weren't good
We're
enough for her.
bougie enough.
Yeah. Now, as we hit come up on the 2,200, now all of a sudden we're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think anybody who's looking to do this, if you're not full time already, and you're worried about that, as long as you and your spouse are on the same page, and you know what you want to do and how you want to do it, that relationship with your children, as long as you allow it to build and grow, it is an amazing one on the road. And I can't, I mean, even when we were down in Key West and we were drinking, the video clips that will eventually make it onto a YouTube video or being sent to the kids of Mom and I doing, first Jello shots or,
Your first,
my
not
first,
mine.
my first Jello shot, my first Long Island iced tea.
Yeah, yeah.
But we were sending them video clips, and we're just shooting this with a cell phone, being goofy, right? And they're cheering us on. Go, Mom. Go, go, Dad. That's pretty cool, man. That's way
Sure
better
is.
than I think anything that we had seen when we were home. And on top of it, I don't have chores to do like that.
You do, though.
We still have chores here, but not like
Not as
mowing the
bad.
lawn.
Oh, God, no.
Jeez.
Ugh.
So if you guys can, and I know there's a little bit of a delay, I've learned this from the last live stream. If you're full-time in here, let us know. And if you're thinking about going full-time, let us know. I'd like just to see what the ratio is. And while you're typing in that box, don't forget to slide over and hit the thumbs up button. Apparently that helps with the replay and people seeing that. Irish
Irish Kevin's, yeah.
So Irish Kevin's, Bruce, as a matter of fact, when we came down during the pandemic, they were one of the only bars that were, I think, doing live music.
Yep.
And they had somebody, like behind plexiglass or whatever. I think we stood out there for about a good 5 or 10 minutes listening to music.
What
And
was the
we
other
never
one?
made it in there.
The
last-
hog something or
Hog's
other.
Breath.
Hog's, yeah.
Hog's Breath, the
That
last time we were
was-
down here,
ooh.
had an amazing band.
But
And
it's very close.
very close, and the wait to get a drink is
Yeah.
pretty lengthy. But I will say, the smallest bar in the world, that one,
Yeah.
they're overpriced. And then I honestly think who had the strongest drinks was Fat Tuesdays. Fat Tuesdays,
Yeah.
Long Island iced tea slushy drink there was crazy
Yep.
and far surpassed all the rest. Now, if you get out to the end of Duval Street and you get to the
Living in Detroit. Hold on. Just a weekend camper warrior. For a few long stretches in the summer. And
and that's how it
venturesome-
started for us. So that's definitely
They sold a venturesome couple, sold their Alaska house, went full time for a while, then we bought a home base in Central Florida, moved our daughter into our home base. She's 22 and in college. That's pretty cool.
yeah. In Central Florida, let me tell you, the more we come back into Florida, Central Florida is awesome, and that's it's perfect because it's central.
We're
You
gone
down to the Keys in a minute.
11 months a year. Yeah.
See, and that's so you have a
perfect.
place to return
Yeah.
home, and that's good. That's good. We still don't have that. I think eventually we're looking for the right piece of property where we can say, we're going to park either the MLE here, we'll park that on a piece of land,
Yeah.
and maybe get a fifth wheel and tour with that, or do this and get a Class A or a Class C.
We'll see how it
Still
goes.
see how it goes. Right
It's still
now,
early.
and this, I'll tell you, this 22 MLE, this thing is no joke for us. It's the perfect setup, perfect size. We can get in and out of places, no problems, and we have enough space that we're not on top of each other. So I think I'd like to ride
For
this
now,
out for
it
a few more
works,
years.
yeah.
But at the same time, the right piece of land comes along, I'm all in for, just something to have. I think, especially in the situation of, God forbid, another pandemic or another global event or something like that, you have a place that you can retreat back to. And that's the only thing that I think what we're doing, may be an issue down the road. But
You never know.
at the same
We
time,
thought we were gonna stay up north forever too.
exactly. And at the same time, I do like this every 2 or 3 weeks.
Is that when I can move back in?
So-
No.
So
No.
for those of you who don't see this, because they mentioned we need moderators.
Yeah.
So if you have moderation experience and know how to put all this stuff up on the screen, send Carrie a
Please.
message, shoot us an email, because we can definitely use the assistance. But our son just chimed in and wanted to know if he could move back in when we settle down. And this is the funny thing, right? You never want to tell your kids they got to get out. But I think he moved out at the right time.
Yeah,
and he's
fine.
doing very
He's
well
doing
for
very
himself. That's
So
great.
no.
But no, you can't move back in. But you can come over and visit.
Yep. We can go visit you in your place.
Yeah, just make sure you have a 30 amp plug, and we'll stop in anywhere. I think that's that's the big thing there. But
Do you use StreamYard for going YouTube live?
so we haven't been. We've just been using YouTube. We're doing it off the phone at the moment. And Carrie's using the laptop for just basically chat box stuff. But we haven't looked into any of that stuff. I would like to. It depends on how the live streams go. Live streams are kind of weird, right? I don't know if it's a timing or whatever, but we end up with a fair amount of people throughout. Just pop in and pop out, and then the replay does really, really well. So whether it's a matter of something we do regularly, I don't know. I would like to have a little more.
I would like to have a moderator for just because I feel weird looking back and forth all the time. We use a free version. You can put comments on the screen. Oh, for
And
real?
this is StreamYard, so we'll have to take a
we'll
look
have
at
to
that
look,
after.
definitely.
Because that could definitely be something that works for us. Like I said, with the live streams, we're kind of private people ironically, when you have a YouTube channel, but I think this is great because this lets us connect with a lot of people that, maybe, you want to ask questions. And the one thing that I will say, since we've seen this growth out of nowhere for our channel, I think in the last 30 days, we have something like 600 new subscribers. The comment sections on each one of our videos are blowing up, and we get a lot of Instagram stuff and whatever. So I think the communication channels are always good to have. But I think something about a live stream, it's just nice to be able to sit back and just maybe dive into something a little more. I think maybe down the road, what I'd like to do is, if we continue with live streams, look at it and maybe discuss the video that just came out and go into that a little more. Like with this one, our latest video that just came out was basically traveling from Clearwater down to, not Clearwater, Crestview.
We was
In
stuck.
Milton. I know. My names of Florida towns are horrible. And remember where we are. But driving from the Gulf Coast down to Orlando, and the unveiling of the new truck, by the way, and all that stuff, I think that was good. But there was so much more behind that. There was, we were stuck in traffic for quite a while because they were airlifting people off the highway there. We did get to stop and check out some of the villages. And we've heard some crazy stuff about the villages in Florida, but we were able to check it out. It was actually pretty cool, but I've heard some stories.
It's a pretty area.
crazy stories coming out of the
You know,
villages.
well, they can have their crazy. It's still pretty.
But it was nice to see, and then, you know, as far as things like that, just kind of go over, you know, what we're
Bruce,
thinking.
we've been going to the Keys for lobster season since the early 90s. I've had lobster once, maybe twice in
This is
my
going to
life.
sound horrible. We don't like lobster. We've
I
had it.
didn't say that.
When was the last time you were like, hey, I could go for a
I
lobster?
said like once, twice in my life, but
I
not
think I was
like,
with you both times. And
like with butter, lots of butter.
lots of butter. I don't know. I think, you know, that's the other thing too, is that there's a huge difference between northern seafood and southern seafood. You know, I keep it simple. I'm a fried clams, clam cakes, stuff like that. The stuff down here, what did we have when we were here last
Oh my
time?
gosh, these conch things,
Conch fritters?
fritters.
Oh,
They were awful.
so this was during the pandemic, we were down in Mallory Square, and there's no food around.
starving.
And we're starving. And there's this one guy who's got this little food truck thing, and he's making conch fritters. And we're like, okay, well, I know what a
Can't
fritter
be.
is. How bad can it be?
Ugh.
And we got these things. One, it took like 40 minutes to get them. So that should have been my
Yeah.
first clue that they weren't going to be good. We got these things, and they were just horrendous.
Yeah.
I'm a trooper, and I struggled through, and we shared like this little bowl, and we found out later apparently there's dipping sauces for these that make these things tolerable, and yeah, that's our whole experience of seafood down here. But I did have a mojito during that trip, my first mojito at
Sloppy Joe.
Sloppy Joe's.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of good times down there. And we'll probably go one more time before we leave. I've been trying to talk Carrie in to go one more time.
Oh man.
And then when we leave here, we go to Fiesta Key. We'll be looking at doing things towards Miami
Yep.
because it's a little closer. And the other thing here, too, a little secret from your Uncle Bob, is that you come down to the Keys this time of year, it's like a quarter of the people that are normally here.
Because
This
it's a
is
little
great.
warm.
We got here and they tried to put us way back towards the road, and we're like, hey, do you have anything closer to water? We're bumped all the way up here. I mean, we're literally right off the water. And
Bruce. Conch
Yeah,
fritters
Bruce-
can be very good or very bad. It was very bad.
these were very bad. There's
I
just-
don't know what a good. Yeah, no.
I was very appreciative for the guy being out there and risking
Yeah.
his life during a pandemic to make these, but they were horrible. And yeah, and it's funny because like
Probably
down
would have
here,
been better off eating the cardboard.
yeah, down here, and especially there's a few places to eat, especially when you get down to Key West, but there's few and far between if you don't know where you're going. And especially now with us doing this keto carnivore diet thing, my voice keeps cracking.
It's not too much we can have.
Yeah, is a very big limitation on what we can't have. The drinks were not part of the diet at all,
No.
but we were good on that level that we didn't go eating a bunch of food or anything while we were down there. But yeah, that's what I probably should have done. I would have. There was a hot dog truck, and there was a taco
I
truck.
told you to get the hot dog. Just take the bun off of it. Just eat
Okay,
the
those of
hot
you-
dog.
Those of you who have dieted, RJ, you may want to chime in here as well. I think there's something grossly wrong if you go to a hot dog cart and get just a hot dog with ketchup, no bun.
Stop
And just
complaining.
walking around carrying a wiener everywhere you go.
Just dip it in ketchup.
You don't dip it, Penelope. You just put the ketchup on the top and you eat it with
Don't
a
be
bun.
such a chuck.
You can't just walk around Key West holding a weenie, going like this, hey, I'm gonna eat it. It doesn't work. But apparently, whether you're male or female, you can walk around Key West in just a thong. That is fine. But you can't walk around with a weenie with ketchup.
All right.
And Carrie's
Oh
trying
my
to
God. Yeah, you can do that with a what?
use two hands. just floppy
Yeah.
wiener everywhere. So speaking of floppy wieners,
Oh yeah. What's up?
so as we're down at Duval Street, they have this drag club down there.
Oh my gosh!
So let's
I
talk
have
about
the
this for a
card.
second. So
Come on.
there's a club down there. Was
Yes.
it 81 Bourbon or something like that?
I
Where
have the card. We can go.
these are all, it's a drag club. And I was shocked that 90%, 95% of people that were in the bar were men.
Well, I'm sorry, but their makeup is just incredible.
Oh, they do a hell of a job.
Incredible.
We didn't go into the club because I'm
We
still
won't do
not
it.
at that level yet.
Well, maybe you should go
But-
in with your floppy wiener.
Just go in with the floppy winner. But it was they come right out on the street and they solicit, you know,
Yep.
for their business and whatever. But these guys, man, I'll tell you, the amount of makeup that they wear is just insane. But you know, and I think that's the coolest vibe. And if you've never been to the Keys, you have to. It's got to be part of everybody's bucket list. But Key West is just, you know, this whole just craziness of whatever you are, whatever you want to be,
Well, hold on.
you can be.
We saw a guy walking around Key West wearing only an apron. We were down there for 3 weeks in February. It's a venturesome couple.
So, one, I'm sorry you saw that. Two, I can top this story. When Carrie
in Vermont.
When Carrie and I
Oh.
first moved to New Hampshire, where we lived in New
Yes.
Hampshire, is right on the.
You work at the hot dog stand.
So, RJ, you're killing me. So when
Slinging weenies.
we first moved to New Hampshire, where we lived was right on the border of Brattleboro, Vermont. And they had this law in the books for years that you did not need clothing to walk around Brattleboro. And now, this was probably a law that people had forgotten about and didn't think much of it, except for this one old dude that came from Arizona. And when I say old dude, he was in his 80s and he knew he was older guy.
Yeah.
And he liked to walk around downtown Brattleboro with just a fanny pack and a pair of flip-flops. That's it.
True.
And just talk about, you know, flopping wieners. He was everywhere.
So they have a little, like, in Brattleboro, they have a one-way street. So he saw
I saw him
said
walking.
naked man first, and then he's like, Care, look out the window, look out the window. Well, at that time, I looked out the window, and I was face to face with this guy's fanny pack.
Oh yeah, she was right there.
Oh my God.
But this, if you know, and I think now, since
Oh.
this guy had made such a ruckus,
Well, yeah, they can't do that anymore.
they can't do it anymore. They've changed the law and they've taken it off the
Yeah.
books.
Thank goodness.
But geez, yeah, I think that was pretty much.
So, yeah.
that was the last of the craziness. But yeah, definitely down here is
Oh.
definitely a bucket list thing. If you have 1,000 trails in your part of the Trails Collection Plus
Yeah.
package, I would definitely recommend checking out Sunshine Key. Our neighbors over here said that Fiesta Key, where we're heading to next, is even nicer. So definitely worth the trip. But I think I'm going to start winding this down. But
What? There's
Better-
a dessert restaurant called Better Than Sex in Key West. Yes.
well, I saw
You
a
feel
brothel.
like you're in a brothel. Yes, it's dark inside and they play older, slower romantic music. Overpriced dessert, but must go once. Yes. Great name for a bar in the Keys. Floppin' Wieners.
Where is this place called?
Yes.
This is what is it called? Better Than
Better
Sex.
Than Sex.
We're gonna have to check that out. And
Yeah.
if there's, I know we're losing people here because I'm talking about flopping wieners. But has anybody checked out Robert the Doll down here in Key West? This is one that I've wanted to do for a while.
Oh, that's
I'm
creepy.
trying to get it before we leave here,
Creepy.
as we're closer to Key West. I think we're only 30 miles out. But this whole Robert the Doll thing, it's an interesting story.
Yeah.
For the
You'll need to make reservations. Oh, really?
for the restaurant.
No.
I'm assuming we're talking about the restaurant. There's a delay between the two things.
Oh.
But hey, I'll make a reservation. You know, it's better than sex. But the Robert the Doll thing is a like there's like a huge thing. If you don't know about it, you know, pull it up on Google, whatever. But it's something I've wanted to see for a while, so I'm gonna definitely check that out. We're here. There's also a state park that we went to the last time. There's a
remember the
beautiful
name of
beach, and we'll try to put it in an upcoming video and get that out before I think our videos are running about 2 weeks. Yes, Better Than Sex
Yes. Okay.
for reservations.
Yes, we will do that. We will do that.
Yeah, so we've got some new stuff coming up. We've got some travels up to once we leave the Keys. We're again going out and heading out to Florida. We'll be doing some little new adventures, some new tattoos coming along.
Someday.
Oh no, pretty soon. And
I know it. I have it.
a lot of changes, channel stuff that we want to
Yeah.
do. I think you're gonna, if you guys have been watching the videos for a while, you'll start seeing differences in editing, some new
Yep.
openers I think that we're working on, and just all this stuff. And at
He's
the
so
same time,
dedicated.
I was not dedicated to this YouTube channel
You
until the
are,
whole
though.
nomad internet thing came
Oh,
out.
that's enough of that
and
garbage.
and basically, the top channels, they got offended by those videos, to the point where they were sending people to downvote our videos.
Yeah.
That kind of revitalized my thing in YouTube. But at the end of the day, all the nomad internet stuff aside, and everything else, this resurgence for our YouTube channel has been good because I do enjoy sharing what we do. And there's a lot of people that, whether, to me, it's a big thing when someone sends you an email or a long comment that says, hey, I'm housebound, and I get to enjoy a little bit. Amelia!
Oh my God!
Sorry, our
Hi.
youngest daughter, Amelia, just said hello. Amelia, hello! But when someone sends
She
you
made it.
a message that says I'm housebound, or I used to travel with my husband or my wife, and they've since passed, and
Yeah,
your videos get us there.
that's cool.
It's very hard to stop making videos at that point, and then you realize that it's taken on a life of its own. Well, thank you, Cindy. I
guys-
appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's always nice to hear.
You can read a lot quicker than I can.
I think because this is a little faster than this.
Okay.
It's always nice to hear somebody appreciating the videos. I think is where I'm going with that. Because again, when we started this, it was mostly just to goof around and kind of make our kids feel uncomfortable.
So Amelia,
Uh-oh.
how many have you watched?
Oh, Amelia being put on the spot. How many videos? She's probably watched, I would say,
And
2.
none.
She's getting caught up.
Oh, she went quiet.
It takes a little bit. We're a couple of minutes delayed. But
Yeah.
yeah, so it is tough when you have somebody that says, hey, we are living through this, or in the case of the internet videos, we had a lot of people reach out that are going to go full time and hadn't thought about having backups for internet because they work full time like
They
I
were
do.
that close to hitting place order.
Amelia, see,
I
I
watched them.
yeah, so that's the other thing is like when we decided to go full time, we kind of just jumped in.
Yeah.
And we had some research. I mean, we kind of knew what was going on, but we still jumped in. There was a lot of stuff that we didn't know.
Hold on, Philip has a question. What are the tattoos you guys have? Love your videos.
Oh, the
Phil and
tattoos.
Debbie from Detroit.
Our tattoos have become a lot of questions that we've
Yes.
been getting on these lately. So this here, they said they're in Detroit, right?
Yes.
All right, well, this is actually pretty timely for you. So this here is a banjo, and inside is a symbol for a band that we follow called Green Sky Bluegrass, and they're actually out of Michigan. Paul Hoffman and those guys do an amazing job. We got into them probably about 7 or 8 years ago. We've checked out probably about 5 or 6 of their concerts already.
Actually,
Carrie's
RJ
met 'em.
started.
Yeah, RJ got us our first tickets to see them.
Yeah. House of
Uh,
Blues.
And it was one of the first bands that Carrie and I wholeheartedly agreed on. And we got matching tattoos. And because I know the other
It was
question comes up.
after a night in Boston we had these done.
Yeah. And another one's our necklaces.
Yes.
This commemorates our section hikes of the AT back in 2017,
Yeah.
which our youngest daughter was a part of. Amelia went
She
with us
just
as we
ran.
hiked through Virginia and McAfee Knob and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
She's been through Shenandoah with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was part of that. But yeah, the tattoos are a pretty big thing. Yeah, as far as the band goes. In fact, now that the pandemic's over, and now that we're traveling, I think at some point I'd like to line up our travel schedule so we can check out a few more of their shows. But yeah, if you're into bluegrass music, Definitely check out Green Sky Bluegrass. They're an amazing band.
They are.
And I think they don't get enough credit for some of the works that they do. And Paul Hoffman, the lead singer there, is probably one of the most underrated musicians, period. Yeah, I don't want to sound too much like a fanboy, but yeah, definitely great band.
Yeah.
Especially if you're into that Grateful Dead. They do a lot of Dead, a lot of Floyd.
His covers, he does a lot of different covers where it's just him and a mandolin, and he's just
He does.
he doesn't. His reach is ridiculous.
But they have, there's just so many of their I can't even think of the songs now, but if you go back into their older catalog, they used to start like really bluegrass, and they've kind of merged into this, I don't want to say like funk, but more of this Floyd, type music, and it's all acoustic. There's no drums, there's no, anything like that. It's just 5 dudes that are incredibly gifted. So it's that. So I think at this point I'm going to start wrapping it up because we've hit past the 30-minute mark. We've hit the 40-minute mark, and I got to eat because even though I've lost 20 pounds, I'm still a big boy and I got to have my steaks and all that good stuff. But we do want to thank everybody for stopping by and joining us as we celebrated our 28th wedding anniversary here in the Keys. I don't know where to go from here other than more adventures. But
keep moving on.
Yeah, that'd be that. We wish you all a great night, and I think
Bruce, have you ever heard of the band The Dead South? They've been one of my favorites lately. No.
Dead South. I'll check them out. I don't think
dive right.
we can do the chat replay. We'll pick it all up in there.
Right.
But the Dead South. That sounds like it might have some kind of genre that I like in there. That's always a good thing too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you everybody
Thank
for
you.
joining us here. Before we go, I'm going to try to turn this camera so that the last shots you
Have
get.
a wonderful 20. Yeah, you guys are one of our favorite places. It is.
It's beautiful.
Gorgeous here.
And I'm going to try to end this by facing this into an empty site, even though there's a car there. So the last shot you see is not me. But I wanted you to see what we're working with here as I spin this tripod around. Here, you keep talking.
I'll keep
Let's see if
talking.
we can do this.
Well, carefully.
Bear with me. The camera gets a little shaky.
Shaky, are we?
And we'll see that.
There you go. Oh, how pretty.
And that is what we're dealing with here. So as I squat down
It's
here.
horrible.
Yeah, it's been a terrible 2 weeks when this is what you have to see all the time. And we've got these tubes right here. We just float out there in the water. And it's okay. It's fine.
Well, have a great stay down there. Thanks, Bruce.
We'll spin you back here. And anything you want to say, Carrie?
No.
All right.
You always put me on the spot like that.
I know.
God. Ugh.
Bye, everybody. Have a great
Bye.
night.